We're on a journey in Zimbabwe to visit a place in the east where Shona people live. My brother Terry and I have been invited to this mountainous region where the extraordinary Chikukwa Project has been operating for 20 years. Hunger and malnutrition is still a problem in Africa. About half the children have stunted growth because of it. Zimbabwe has been no exception. Colonial governments took much of the land that the Chikukwa people used to own to use for forestry. On the land they had left, the Chikukwa people cut down the trees to make way for crop farming and cattle grazing. This land became severely eroded, unable to support crops. But the Chikukwa Project has turned the situation around for the 7,000 Shona people who live in the 6 Chikukwa villages. One key to the project's success has been permaculture, sustainable agriculture and settlement design. And also, unlike other projects in Africa, people here have not been told that the way out of hunger is to sell crops for a cash income. Instead, the project encourages them to produce more food for their own households. And now they have more than enough food for their needs. What we are seeing here is a conflict resolution workshop. Sam and Phineas, skilled members of the Chikukwa Conflict Transformation Team, are acting out the roles of the farmers in the conflict.
Okay.
The family at the top of this hillside is diverting water to their neighbours below. That water is causing a big gully in the middle of their neighbour's best maize field. They, in turn, are diverting water to their neighbours further down the hill. Those neighbours don't mind, and they don't want anyone to know. They're doing very well using the rich silt coming down from above. But the Permaculture Club hears of the problem and offers a conflict resolution workshop on the land of the farmers involved.
Kushata kweziko kunaka kweziko.
Taura
Vari kushatirwa. Pedu pano.
Tiri kunatirwa.
Tarira uone.
Ndozvatoti.
Ivhure sei.
Ndikasima banana apa.
Makambozviona zvakaita. Vakaisa danga. Dhuze chaipo negwenga. Manyoashu. Aya.
Taura henyu.
Waona. Isusuka. Musafa makati bufu kumakirafu kwemunoenda. Munondoti chete imwizi vanonga vechichema. Ivo vanochema isi tichifara. Vari kuisa fertilizer kumusoro. Right. Isusu takaisa masquirrels. Tikaisa mapit beds. Matrenches waona.
Taura henyu.
Akomana. Right.
Vacho iwaya ndichisa apa pasikasvike guwa.
We'll come back to this later in the film and see how they try to find a way forward. In Chinmanimani, we first meet Ellie and Uli. Terry, who is talking to them here, studies sustainable farming, and he met them a year ago at a conference. They take us to stay at the Permaculture Centre, the headquarters of the Chikukwa Project. The area where the project works is called Chikukwa. The whole community of 6 villages is named after the chief of their clan, Chief Chikukwa. We meet him later on. While we are staying as guests of the project, we are given rooms in the visitors' quarters in this very picturesque place, which is a model permaculture farm. They have visitors from all over Zimbabwe coming for training workshops in permaculture. The centre was built by the people of the Chikukwa clans. Like everything in this project, the decision to build this centre was a joint community decision. The gardens of the Chikukwa Centre are laid out according to a permaculture plan. Terraces and rock walls hold water as it comes down the slope. Fruit and nut trees form the backbone of the gardens. Nestled within these spaces, vegetables are fertilised with organic compost and manure. A mixture of plant species reduces pest attacks. Every day we are here, Chipo cooks for us, using food from the gardens of the Seluk Centre. To me, this community and this place is like paradise. The Seluk Project has constructed a channel to take some of this water to irrigate the cropping fields of the villages further downstream. This is the shopping centre for the 6 Chikukwa villages. All of the children in this community go to school. The community wants us to make a film. We are sent to interview many farmers who can tell us how the project works. The farm of Chief Chikukwa. The chief supports the work of Seluk.
The development is very good here in Chikukwa because we know how to plow, we know how the seeds to sow, we know what to do.
Now we meet the village headman in his vegetable garden.
After digging, making beds, and after that, the compost. But the compost, not the real manure, but the compost.
Ah, so I can try this one now.
Another one for you.
It's very sweet. Delicious, but I don't think we have it. If it's anything, it's like it's most like a persimmon, but
Okay.
Olivia tells us how her family farms their land.
Katangana kutima muriwo, hoho, cabbage, matsunga, carrots, tomatoes, harimo. Among my young bagasian siana nungus. Nimbudzi, ne rukisha, injiva, ng'ombe, nembwa. Kuku is not batira, is not pa mazai. Anaongoja kuitoa nyama. Ni mbudzi, nongo totengesa, then tukataona mali. Ni ng'ombe tunasasa kuima, kana utengesa then tukutwa kuti mali. Injiva zacho kunongoja.
We meet the chairperson of the construction committee for this tank, Julius Pokai.
Tengi ta kapuwe bapombi ne permaculture ne semende ne zidina kuti yake keni. Takapedza toforome zvidhina zvedu temese topedza toaka.
The current chairperson of the water committee.
Saka misha yedu
kuti inofambiswa kundoti musha wega wega une pombi yaari kutosenzesa kudii kuti amwe tichifambira zvekuona kuti uri kuisenzesa zvakanaka here hatisi kusiya mapombi akavhurika here kuti mvura yedu inozopera uko.
Mai Shumba talks about select water projects she is involved with.
Ndiri ku-select tinobatanawo nemaprojects tine orchard tiri kunokukwakwaedza. Ndiri mu-orchard munomu ndiri ne-treasurer we-orchard iyi. Saka tiri kubenefita tine mvura yedu iyi yetinayo kubudikidza nge-catchment area yedu iri kumusoro. Takasime michero yedu tichidikidza nemvura iyi. Saka mhemo iri takarisa panapa kuti izvoni tizoisemo howe nekuti mvura yacho imweni tozodiridza ndiyo zvisimwa zvedu muochadi yedu. Yachizobuda mvura yedu panapa takasitange kudini kuake kuite orchard yedu. Orchard yedu takazoita takabatana musha wababa Mahleza nemusha wababa waMai Shumba. Mai Shumba ane vana vavo vairi Aurora, baba Mahleza ane vana vavo vatatu. Ndobva tabatana toite orchard yedu. Taite orchard yedu takasimukira zvakanyanya. Tikaone mugoho wakanyanya yokuti mhuri dzedu hadzichina dambudziko mari yekuchikoro kana zvekudya. Takazobatsirwa ngeselect ikatipawo waya yekufenze orchard yedu. Tadaro zviya vaenzi vanotobvawo kure vanodawo kuziya ngezvemaorchard anorifewe uno neveselect. Isisi toite matichawo toadzidzisawo kuti zvinofambiswa zvakadai. Saka tine rombo rakanaka nekuti takakwanisa kuzvishandisa zviwanikwa zvedu. Muorchard mwedu mune mapopo, mapineapple, makotopeya, manakis, maorange, maupea unonzi mugwere nemudhumbuya nezvimwe zvakatodaro zvakawanda. Pakusenzesa kwetinoita michero dzedu, imwe kana ikaibva yakawandisa tinotora toiprocessa. Semabhanana tinotora tonanika, mamengo tinobike juice. Amwe acho mamengo tinonga tichitoodhesera emusika kana mabhanana tichiodheserawo emusika.
Mai Masekete and her husband tell us about their garden and what they have learned from their permaculture training.
The change is very visible. Long ago, the whole place here used to be like this time. And the dry season, it used to be like this. But because we are now using this principle of water harvesting, it's now green. Everywhere is green. Runoff from the roof there, and the water goes into the garden there, and you really get the bananas there and some of the crops that are in the garden. And at the back there is a bathroom. And the water from the bathroom, it goes, we have put a dish there so that the water, the runway from the bathroom, it goes to the bananas again. And over there, we have got a swale there, which catches water from the road there. So throughout the year, each drop that comes this way is used.
Tingati panapa tinotoita zvakawanda. Tinorima mbeu dzechindau maOPVs. Tinotongwarima imomo matinoona atishandisi fertilizer mumunda medu.
She's saying we also plant some OPVs here. And we usually don't use fertilizer, we use manure. We were taught to interrelate the field and animals that we keep there. So we take manure from the crow there, we put it in the field, and the residues from the field to the animals. So they are helping each other. We are getting something from the animals and from the field.
These photos, taken 20 years ago, show some of the early working bees organised by the project and how things looked in the beginning. Eroded hills, exhausted soils, only a few trees left standing. Like a desert in the dry season. No feed for cattle and land unable to support healthy crops. Here we see the same hills as they are today. In front of you, you can see the little farms, each owned by a separate family. The whole landscape is organised by permaculture design. The basic idea is to use the water at each stage as it comes down the hill. Elements of the farm and landscape design help each other and together provide the diversity of foods and fuel required to live a healthy life. These gum trees and wattles planted on the ridges hold water on the land and stop erosion. They also make excellent firewood. To keep the springs flowing, they have had to fence the gullies around each spring and plant indigenous trees to hold moisture in the soil. This was the first step taken by the villagers to restore their landscape, by restoring their springs. A poly pipe runs down from these springs to the village tanks further down the slope. This girl is taking water for her family. Cutting across each field, the villagers have dug contour bunds, the long mounds, with swales, the long ditches, on the uphill side. As the water comes down, it is trapped by the swale and soaks into the ground. Moisture stays in the soil for the whole year and there is no erosion. They store water in tanks, which they have made with bricks fired in their own kilns. They run a poly pipe from these tanks to supply taps in the villages. Each house has a washing up stand, so plates can dry in the sun, which kills germs. Below this is the orchard, which gets water from the washing up and runoff from the house and yard. The next thing going down the slope is the vegetable garden. This gets the full sun. They grow a mixture of easy vegetables which can be picked and eaten all through the season, such as kovo, a kind of cabbage. Each house has its own collection of small animals and, if possible, fish. They feed these from the cropping fields and from their gardens. The animals provide manure to make good compost for the gardens. Goats are not allowed to roam around destroying the plants. They are either in their pens or tied up to browse. Cattle are herded to their pastures and kept out of cropping fields and gardens. The cropping fields are used to grow basic carbohydrate and are fertilised with manure or compost. These fields produce even in a drought. They save seeds from their crops for next year and do not need money to buy seeds. The crop residue after harvest is used to make compost. They grow enough maize and wheat to make sure every household is well fed. A typical idea of permaculture is to grow plants together so that one plant supports another. This is companion planting. Here we have grapes growing with avocados, pineapples growing with herbs, and maize growing with pumpkins. Here we meet the leaders of the many groups which make the Chikukwa Project so successful. All meetings begin with songs and prayers. There are different committees, some to promote permaculture and train people in it, some to keep the history, to prevent AIDS and to help survivors, some to stop violence against women, to promote nutrition, to keep the old culture and deal with conflicts.
We honorably react to a request. We don't necessarily initiate. So they start already, they talk about it during when they meet for planning and so on, say, there's a need for this, there's a need for this, there's a need. And then all what we do is facilitate, but they identify the need themselves. And then they take the lead themselves. So this is perhaps one reason why they remain so focused. because we don't take anything out of their initiative.
And when the group started, the action group, it involved quite a number of different age groups who were much concerned about healing the land so that they would produce enough to feed themselves. So you find that what is more important here is the food security. So everyone is much concerned.
Tingati mutsauko wokuti titore youth nevakuru ngokuti mwana anofanira kukura achiziya basa kubva pasi.
Tingati mashandiro atinoita tinoshanda nevarimi kuvillage tichitakura zvichemo zvinonga zvine varimi zvavanoda kubatsirwa nezvavanenge vachida kubatsirwa tichiuya tichisangana nemanagement team kuno tichikurukura tiri pamwe zvinokwanisa kubatsirika zvobatsirika zvinenge zvisingakwanisikiwo toshandawo zvakadaro. Komiti inosarudzwa nevarimi kumavillage vanongoisarudza kamwe tingati inoshanda kwemakore 2 saka vanoisarudza patinoita yatinoti open day.
Working in the area as a school teacher and school head, and I was interacting with the community. So when the idea of in this organization coming up was, people felt I had a hand to contribute, so we would hold discussions together with those that felt we needed to do something to change the lifestyle within the community. Some of them, in fact most of them, were my former students, including Peter Mukaronda, Julius Pitti. They were my students. And then some we were friends, we were workmates in education.
My husband was teaching at the secondary school. And at the secondary school, my husband was teaching with Uli and Eli. And I became friends of the Westerman's family. So each and every day we could sit down, seeing our land going, and we were discussing, so what? And if it rains, we could see erosion, soil growing, and so on. And then we always discuss. And then one day we said, okay, but we have to action. And we began to action by having a workshop in 1991 at Pitti's place. I volunteered together with Peter, Abisha, Eli, Zawanda, and myself.
Ellie and Ollie live here. As two of the founders, they give us a long interview. Their story starts with this spring, which brings water to their house. This is how the spring looks now, surrounded by a lush indigenous forest, running with water. In the early 90s, it wasn't so reliable.
We are at exactly this spot, I think, for 26 years now. And the first years, we were very happy having our spring functioning, had all our water coming from up there, the spring, and had a pipe coming down here. And the water got less and less and less, till one day there was really no water in the pipe anymore, and we went up to the spring. The spring was empty. The neighbors and us, all on our mountain here, which is the Royal Mountain, the Royal Chikukwa family living here, we were all quite upset and started thinking of what are we going to do, because we had to get the water from down there. And we started with our neighbors to work at the spring. So our chief did some traditional rituals with snuff and talking to the spirits. We arranged some rocks and even tried to fence it off because of the cattle, and actually we were digging down and we got another little trickle. But after the very first rain, it was silted again. We've realized that we have to work on the top, but we didn't really know how to do it. So we've asked for so-called specialist advice. It was a little permaculture center which started at that time in Harare, Fambitsanai, with our friend John Wilson, whom we knew because he was headmaster in a neighboring school here in Chimanimani. So we came up together with some ideas and started together with the community to have a little introduction into permaculture with focus on how to deal with resources, the natural resources, meaning also the water that was drying up. So that's how it started. That was 91.
Seeing is believing. Much of it happened through home to home. The home to home exchange was the main tool in the beginning, and then there were other things like learning together. People called it permaculture school, which happened once a month, and it was basically farmer to farmer training. So you had people who were experienced in a certain thing like herbs or grafting fruit trees or natural pest control or whatever, and they would take that knowledge to the community and then teach and learn together. And that's how it spread. But the demand came very quickly within Chikukwa. I mean, there was so visible success after a short time, really, that it was just convincing.
So me, my bee, and 4 other youngsters, we decided to do something, and we took the hose on our shoulders and walked up into the mountains and worked with the people, digging swales, working at the springs. And by doing that, people got so motivated and just kind of came along as well. It was very enthusiastic. It was a very beautiful time because we were working with the community, singing and digging away, and really after a few years you could see the impact. Erosion was limited. Some areas were already terracing out after the vetiver contours because the soil was washed to the vetiver contours and terracing out. So you really could see that the maize was much higher just after the contours, and a bigger harvest. A few springs were actually 2 or 3 springs were already reactivated after 3 or 4 years of our work. So we could see something, and that was very motivating for our friends here and for the villagers.
You have to be integrated in the community if you want to work in the community and if you want to achieve anything. And you have to know the people. It's very difficult for outsiders to quickly jump in, do a quick 2 or 3 year program and then move on and phase out. That is not how life usually happens, and that is not how development can happen. So for us, definitely it was very essential that things grew from the community, and we were part of that community and grew with it, and of course knew a lot of people. We knew hundreds of students by name here, and that of course makes it much easier.
The whole program is not only about growing healthy food, it's also really about education, why you eat what kind of food, and how important it is for growing children, for example. So the whole, that you will see that we have got hardly any malnutrition, or which we have got in other communities. And we have got a high awareness of HIV and AIDS by now. People do open up, people do talk about their status, people do go to get tested at our local clinic and do talk about it. And I think that is quite revolutionary.
This is one of the many groups that have sprung up since this project began. They're keeping the old Shona culture alive. The young people who started this group see a link between permaculture and their ancestral traditions.
CELACT, we see it as a supportive organization in everything that we do in our tradition. Because in our tradition, we do not allow people to cut down trees like waterberries, like fig trees, or there are sacred trees which we also believe, even our ancestral spirit, they go and reside there. And also, we are in line with CELACT in the use of organic agriculture, where you're not supposed to use some artificial fertilizers because it damages the soil. Also in our tradition, that is some of the things that we encourage our community members to work in harmony with nature. So it's there to sort of strengthen the rules and regulations of our community.
After we had finished filming in the Chikukwa villages, we were invited to visit further afield, where the ideas pioneered by CELACT are being spread by the Suro organisation. This organisation is working for the whole of the Chimanimani district, an area as big as a small state.
Suro grew out of Chikukwa. Chikukwa had become, over the first 10 years, I would say, a little bit well known, even in the region at that time. There were training groups from Malawi, Mozambique, South Africa, who brought small farmer groups to the center. And within the district, there was also quite a bit of training and people who, through relatives and others, got to know about what's happening in Chikukwa. And this is really what created the demand in the district. So it was really a demand-driven thing that the other 20 wards in the district, we have 21 wards in Chimanimani district, said, well, if this is happening in Chikukwa, why can it not also happen in our place? And then a couple of stakeholders sat together, including local government council, conservation committee, some individuals, agri-techs departments, some individuals from other NGOs and friends in the permaculture movement in Harare and so on, said, well, how can we go about this and develop a concept around it? And we did that over a year. And I was a bit instrumental in that as well. And then with the support of the Kellogg Foundation, it began to happen in late 1999. But the program really started running in 2000. And so there we are now working with about 188 villages. But then there's many others who don't opt for membership who also indirectly work with Tsuru. And on the whole, there's a population of 120,000 in the district, of which I would say we work with about 40,000 people in the district.
This is a conference of community workers for Suro, who are reviewing what they've done over the past year.
Tingati vanenge vakule kuone pakaitika mistake kuti vakarana etiloseri kana kuti vakarana etiloseri vanokuidzana etiloseri vari kufamba here nenzira yavari kufunga kuti ichavawanisa 50 bags handiti is
or she, and it's working in the intended direction. Rake ranga rakaronga kuti ndichada kuwana 50 bags. Saka kuti azive kuti zveshuwa 50 bags ndiri kudziwana handiti. Ari kuda kutanga ambofunga, ari kutanga arifamba achifunga kuti 50 bags dzangu ndichazodziwana here. Nokuti pane zvimwe zvichamutaridza kuti apa 50 bags dziyazidini. Kana kuti uchatiwana dzakadarika 50 bags. Handiti. Lo chinangwa chesession ino yatiri. We are reviewing.
Now we meet farmers who've learnt from Suro and who are spreading the permaculture message from Chikukwa. This family further out has a dryland farm terraced with rock walls to hold the water and prevent erosion. This farmer says he has learned a lot about composting and farming in general from the permaculture workshops.
Pangwa ima compost ndakanga nda join permaculture ndiyo yakandidzidzisa nyaya dzemacompost. Saka pari zvino pabasa irori ndinoita nevana vangu nemudzimai.
Kana tiri pano pamba hatisarudzi kuti mukomana kana kuti musikana, dzese tinongoita nongoshanda zvakafanana.
Kuenda kuna mama maya.
This farmer also learned a lot from permaculture workshops. His yields have improved and now he can afford to sell some food to get money as well as to feed his family.
Tikutofara zvakanyanya neruzoro taidzidziswa takadzidziswa futi kuwedzera futi ipapo takadzidziswa nezvemarketing kuti michero yedu munofanira kuitengesa makadai kuti muone mari iri pamusoro. Zviri kutofadza zvakanyanya, zviri kutodakara kana even nemhuri dziri kuti dzisaiwana dzakuwana kubudikidza ngedzidziso yetsuro.
He's particularly proud of this fence, which was a prize one year for having the best permaculture farm.
Kuona mabanana tinoshandisa andiri ndakaona ndakachera matrenches awo matrenches pane matrenches andakaita saka matrenches toshandisa mashizha acho ndiwo atinoita masi ndiwo kuita kuti mvura yashoma zviya zviya inobva mutengi mwando unonga uchichengetedzeka tadiridza zviya zviya mvura mwando haukasiri kupera nekuti panonga paine mashizha anonga arimo. Mvura kana ichinge yanaya zviya zviya hakuna mvura inonga ichitorwa ichierera, yese inonga ichengeteka mumatrenchimo. Saka kuchengeta kwainonga ichiita kunga kumwando uchiramba urimo, saka mabanana achinge achikura zvakanaka. Panapa tinochengeta zvimhuka zvidiki, tinochengeta huku, tochengeta futi mbudzi. Ndochengeta panapa huku nembudzi. Permaculture zvinobatsira nekuti kumbudzi nekuhuku tinoona manyowa aya tinoaisa kupi, tinoaisa kugarden. Pozoti futi pane muriwo uya unonga wanga kuoma uya usingachaiti kushandika uya, tinokaya futi tichiya kupinda huku tichienda kofidha futi mbudzi. Saka zvinongoramba zveitenderera, hapana chinonga chichiuza kuti uko titorarama muriwo teifidha ndochi huku nembudzi. Kumbudzi tinowana manyowa atinoisa kumagadheni, saka zvinongoramba zveitenderera zvifambidzana kudaro. Ndo mafambidzirano azvinoita.
Unonzi Clarity noitawo basa rinomubetserawo kubhidhira nekunobatsirawo kuviridzira.
He also grows trees for himself and for others to use. Nelson Jomo and his wives, Jessica and Joyce, have also done well with advice from the Suro organisation that is spreading the message from Chikukwa. Jessica says she wants her children to grow up as farmers so that they will always have food to eat.
Takatanga basa redu tiri kwetaya tichitamira muno takatanga kutanga basa redu muna 1983
Saka tauya muno, takasvika muno, tichifarire zvemvuro zvemagadhi. Saka tanga tine zvimwe zvidaya nazo tikatengesa tikanika mapaipi. Mapaipi mazhinji ndio takazobatsirwa ngetsuro. Waya zhinji ndio takazobatsirwa ngetsuro. Kuma project kufundira zvetinoita mumagadhi takazobatsirwa ngetsuro. Saka zvaite kudaro tine gadhi ingaramba ichiita kamodo kucha.
Beautiful orchard. And what is this one here?
This is for shade.
For shade. I see.
When we started to grow trees,
yes,
we started this.
You need shade. So yeah,
shade.
so this is quick growing, is it? Quick growing. And for shade.
Marane kuone mwana unomirirana nebasa iri. Ndizvo chaizvo kuti mhuri yatina iyi ndozviri kupona ndizvo. Kana pane mwana uchaite shungu inonga ichiitwa iyi, nofunga zvichandomubatsirawo. Ngekuti uripo unostomboti kana ichinge achienda kuma-workshop unostomboendawo. Chete mazuva ano hapana hake wakamboti buni. Unostomboendawo chimudiki zvake asi unosoendawo kuma-workshop. Chindoonawo zvinonga zvichiitwa zvinozvitawo zvingo.
This group all work in a community garden. They all have different plots, but they work it together.
Tiri Machete village group. Tiri muchimanimani pasi petsuro dzichimanimani. Saka takatanga garden iri 2003. Tichiedza kuti tiitewo nutrition garden nekuti vana vedu vatinozvara muno vanga vasina utano hwakanaka. Right, tapedza izvozvo takakwanisa kuti tirime garden riri nutrition garden. Rikatibatsira tikazokumbira rubatsiro kubva kutsuro dzechimanimani. Rakazokwanisa kutibatsira nekutipa waya nekutipa mapoles zvese nepombi dzese dzekudiridzira mugore ra2007. Taita zvaisa izvozvo nutrition garden yedu yakabva yatanga kufunctiona, tikabva tasima mavegetable, tikasima ipwa, tikasima memengo, zvikabva zvaita kuti vana vedu vagute, tikabva tatanga kuita vanhu utano hwedu, vana vedu vakatanga kuita health. Saka takabva tanzwa kufara nanhasi tiri kubudirira.
Now we visit the home and farm of Julius Piti. He was one of the founding members of Selukt, the Chikukwa Project. In the last few years, he has moved on to work with Suro to spread these ideas further.
Suro had organized some funds to support the farmers around this area, and this project has been part of our also implementation as our stakeholder sharing, and we've got quite a few projects around here, because in the vision is that we are going to have a permaculture training center here, which will also try to host some of the permaculture techniques to expand the knowledge of permaculture in the district. Actually, what happens was that we used to go to church with some kind of neighbors, a lot of people, so we used to go into mountains and pray. And one day in around 1995 also, 95 or 90s, I went to that mountain and stayed there for 3 days praying. And when I was coming down, I was passing through this place. Then I felt, I love this place. Then I passed and go. After a few years, I revised again and said, I love that place. And then with my wife, then she said, I love this place. So she started staying here for some years on her own with one child. And then I saw, she loves this place. And then after that, we saw that with the plants around and everything around, we fell in love. And then, because I was also working with the permaculture then I could see transferring that knowledge every weekend here. And it was, working. And some of these weekends I come home, a lot of people come to see me. Then I said, what now? I want to rest. This is my weekend. But then they would come because they wanted to get either vegetables or some knowledge or some skills, and then we could share a lot of things. Because I'm a very talkative person, so I would talk to them and share everything. So it was like joy as we shared the experience. The legume is having a multiple function. It is providing a trellis for the passion fruit. And at the same time, it gives a lot of nutrition to the soil and also good shade around the house. You see it's planted just adjacent to the house. And it's also beautiful to look at it. Yeah, and when we have got plenty of them, we can use them for firewood or for any other sticks that we need for supporting other fruit trees around. Yeah, they are quite multiple function.
So that's a leucaena, that one?
Yeah, this is the leucaena.
Yeah.
Leucaena is much easier to grow because it is also drought resistant here. Once it grows, it does not need water.
Oh, I see,
yeah,
right.
It is and you can also use it for fencing. If you plant it systematically, you can actually grow very nice live fence out of it. Permaculture is a system of living for me, which takes in cognizance to natural resource and everything that surrounds us living in harmony with no unbeneficial conflicts. And for socially, you will make peace at the end of the day. It's like a peace project. You will find all the links. When you apply the permaculture principles, you see the principle, they link the whole community, plant community, people, human, whatever, insects, they are linked. And everything will live in harmony and produce enough for each other. That way, you also promote water cycle and even the oxygen that we breathe. And then even the ozone layer can be reduced. It actually solves all the problems that we face in human life. So this is considered to be the right approach for us to live on Earth if you want to save the Earth.
And here we are again at the conflict resolution workshop. Both groups want to cross the river, but they are stuck, facing each other on a narrow bridge. One group will have to give way. The permaculture solution for our original problem, the gully caused by runoff, is to build small rock walls and vetiver grass swales to slow the water through the gully, which will be planted with native fruit trees.
Neuko kusaidi uko ngaiwedzerwe futi kusimwa sekuti tinayo vetiver yakawanda ngatisime yakawanda iyoyo nekuti tinayo yakati wandei inokurumidzwawo kudini kubatana tikaisima yakawanda. Amen.
Amen.
The Chikukwa Project has been going now for 20 years, and we can be totally certain that it has worked. It has been successful because it takes food security as the #1 priority, because it uses permaculture to provide food for households, and because there has been a complete bottom-up transformation of the whole life of the community. It is not just an agricultural project. Those of us watching this film who are living in the rich countries can surely learn this from the people of Chikukwa. A healthy and joyful life does not require a consumer lifestyle or lots of high-tech machinery using massive amounts of power and energy. It can be achieved with much less. The Chikukwa Project has already begun to export its ideas through Suro and through its training programs. It needs to spread its word further in Zimbabwe, in Africa, and indeed the world. Thank you very much.
Yeah.